into the subject with a focus on small print, which is her area of expertise. I hope you all enjoy this online event. Please welcome Okubo-san. Okubo-san、お願いします。大久保さん、ミュート外していただけると。
Sorry. Thank you for introducing me. Hello, I am Noriko Okubo, studying Japanese art history, especially ukiyo-e at Okayama University in Japan. I am very honored to have this opportunity to introduce Japanese ukiyo-e today. I'm nervous because this is my first time to give a lecture in English, but I will do my best to make everyone love ukiyo-e more. スライド準備していただけますか？はい。First, let's talk a little about the historical background of ukiyo-e. The next slide, please. Paintings in Japan have long been intended for high-class people, such as the emperor, nobles, and political warriors. The Edo period, 1603 to 1867, which I will discuss today, also corresponds to the samurai period. However, the major difference between the Edo period and the previous period was that it was a period of isolation, when Japan severely restricted exchange from foreign countries and concentrated on domestic political stability. The next slide, please. As a result, the common people in Edo gradually gained economic power and education due to political stability, and became the bearers of new culture and the enjoyers of art. Ukiyo-e is the art of the common people that emerged during this period. The next, please. My first question to you is, do you know what kind of pictures are called ukiyo-e? The next, please. For example, there are famous works such as Katsushika Hokusai's The Great Wave and Shariku's Octo Prince. What technique are these pictures made with? You know that? Yes, they are prints. Then, is ukiyo-e a print? No, they are not. The next, please. Of course, there are woodblock prints of ukiyo-e, but they are not the only type. Works painted with a brush are also ukiyo-e. Ukiyo-e is another term that refers to techniques, but to works depict the familiar customs and lifestyles of the common people in the early modern period. Therefore, paintings with a brush are also included. The next, please. The meaning of ukiyo-e is a floating word. In the old Japanese language, it was interpreted from Buddhist teaching as a fleeting word. Of course, this was partly because Japan had been in a period of civil war and human life was fleeting. In the peaceful Edo period, however, the original meaning of fleeting was changed by the idea of enjoying this life if it is fleeting. And gradually, the frivolous meaning of enjoyment and the relationship between a man and a woman were added. The word enjoyment was gradually added on the original meaning of fleeting. The next, please. Originally, ukiyo-e was only available as paintings, but There was one big problem. They were expensive. The common people also wanted nice paintings, but one of the kind works painted with a brush were expensive. Therefore, woodblock prints of ukiyo-e appeared, which could be produced in large quantities. Next, please. But in the beginning, they were not very delicate, using only black ink. However, in 1765, ukiyo-e with wonderful techniques was born. There was something that triggered the birth of high-technique ukiyo-e prints. What do you think it was? The next, please. Let's look at some prints. They are all made with one purpose. What do you think they are? The next one. You can find them in your office or at home. You can also check them out on your cell phone. Guess what? The answer is our calendar. They look just like pictures, don't they? But this is a pictorial calendar, a simple calendar that people in the Edo period used to keep every day. The next slide, please. Today, we live by a solar calendar, but in those days, Japan used a lunar calendar. In the lunar calendar, the year was represented by a combination of a big month, that's 30 days, and a small month, that's 29 days. And these months changed every year. For example, this year's May is the big month, but the next year's May will be the small month. Since they change every year, people can't remember them all. So the question arises, which month June this year? Or what month of the year is a big month? So everyone used to carry around a memo to check which month of the year was a big month and which month was a small month. But then there was a boom and the creation of fashionable notes that combined letters and pictures. This boom took place in 1765. The next, please. But what's hidden in this calendar, you would think? The numbers are hidden in this picture. It may be hard to understand because of the kanji, but please try to find where they are hidden. That's a difficult. The next slide, please. It's here, hidden in the kimono pattern. It's a figure on the sleeve. It's big, and 2, 3, or 6. So big months like February, March, June, like that. The next slide, please. Also here, I can use the point. The belt, some figures hidden in the patterns, tori or another kanji figures. The next, please. The next one is a bit more difficult. Where is this? The next slide, please. Actually, it is here. How small? You'd think this would be useless as a calendar, wouldn't you? But it is not cool to be obvious. This is the ideal reaction. It's like, wow, what a beautiful picture. What? Is this a calendar? I didn't even notice. This is ideal reaction. The next, please. In this picture, where is it? Guess where? This one is also difficult, maybe. Next, please. Here, also hidden in the man's kimono patterns. Yeah. 見えますかね？ちょっと難しいかも。はい。Next slide, please. Ah, okay, okay. Yes. Yes, yes. These calendars were originally made in print by rich people in Edo to hand out to their friends and clients during the year-end and New Year's holidays. And then parties were held where everyone would bring them to show each other which one was the most amazing. Everyone wants to make the best one, right? So everyone competed to make the most gorgeous one, regardless of the money involved. More details and more colors were used. At this time, technical innovation took place at once. This is how the ukiyo-e that you know and love, multicolor woodblock print called nishikie were born. Next, please. Now, let us take a look at how ukiyo-e prints are produced. First, the artist depicts an original work of art. The next, please. The next step, the carver carves as many wood planks as the number of colors to be used. The carver carves as many boards as the number of colors to be used, often as many as 8 colors or more. Next, please. The last step is a printer. The printer mixes the pigments and prints them. The order of color printing is from the smallest area to the largest, and from the lightest color to the darkest. And next, please. Looking at the picture calendar, we can see the signature of the painter, carver, and a printer on the corner of right side. Ukiyo-e is a comprehensive art form with specialization. Next, I would like to introduce the techniques of carving and printing. So, the next question, what do you think is the most difficult place to carve a portrait ukiyo-e? It is a hairline called kewari. Next, please. There are about 3 strands of hair carved within a millimeter. Then next, please. In this piece, the long gray hair is carved very finely. It is amazing that the long hair was carved without a single mistake. In fact, the name of the carver is written on this work. It's right side, in the middle area, Horimino. Yes, thank you. In fact, the name of the carver is written on this work. It says here, Horimino. And now, here is another quiz. How old do you think this Horimino was at that time? Very skillful carver. The answer is 18 years old. A teenager.
What?
Amazing, isn't it? Only 18. The next, please. Several carvers share the work of carving the solid blocks for printing. Carving the head of figures in the print is the job of the head carver, the most skillful carver on the pattern. The most skillful carver on the team did our head carving. The next, please. Next, let's take a look at the technique of printing. The snow in this work is expressed not only color, but by the unevenness of the surface. The next, please. The snow in this work is expressed not only color, but by the unevenness of the surface. The snow is expressed by rubbing the unevenness of the wood from above, without using pigments. This technique was used not only for snow, but also for kimono patterns. Next, please. It's like here. The next, please. It's also here. So finally, the stripes of the kimono patterns. The next, please. The cutted board is like this. More closer, next one. It's like this. You can see how finely it curves. The next, please. And outlines like this one. The contour lines of this cat are expressed by unevenness. The same is true of the fur. So are the outlines of butterflies and the flowers. The next, please. These techniques require a lot of force to print and damage the wood, so not many can be made. It was used for relatively expensive works. The next, please. As you can see, ukiyo-e is filled with many techniques and innovations. When looking at ukiyo-e, please get close and observe carefully. The next, please. Now, I would like to talk about small prints. The next, please. Picture 13 shows the Ryogoku Kokugikan, the stadium, the home of Grand Sumo Tournament in Tokyo. Grand Sumo Tournament take place 6 times per year, 3 of which take place in the capital and are broadcast live on television, radio, and the internet. And the grand tournament in May is now held in Tokyo. It sometimes happens that the tournament makes the headlines of the news. Even today, in 2025, sumo continues to be recognized as Japan's national sport. The next, please. The outside walls of the Ryogoku Kokugikan Stadium are decorated with small prints, as can be seen in picture 14. The next, please. Japanese sumo has its roots in Shinto rituals, and the influence of the Shinto roots continues to be seen today. In the ceremonial entry into the ring known as the hyoiri, for example, and in the frequency with which the word for mountain, river, and other natural phenomena are used in wrestlers' ring names. In the latter half of the 12th century, political power shifted from the nobility to the samurai, and sumo penetrated this new martial society as a method of training. The next, please. On folding screens painted between the end of the 16th and the beginning of the 17th centuries, the backgrounds occasionally feature wrestlers engaged in small matches. Indeed, one of the most famous folding screens from this period is a small Yurakuzu Byobu, picture 16. The next one is a close-up of the two wrestlers. The next, please. Here, it is a close-up of the two wrestlers. One of the wrestlers doesn't have a top knot, and his facial features and the color of his skin suggested that he was a Spaniard or Portuguese involved in trade with Japan before the Sakoku isolationist policy was established. In the Edo period, which stretched from 1603 to 1868, the government grew in stability and the practice of sumo declined. Wrestlers lost their patrons and their livelihoods, and so they began to explore ways of becoming independent. They organized themselves into groups and staged regular sumo tournaments. Although sumo events were from time to time forbidden on the basis that they disrupted the peace, the sport nevertheless gained in popularity. The next, please. By the end of the 17th century, sumo was officially recognized by the shogunate government, and ranking lists known as banzuke were created. Picture 17 shows an Edo banzuke, Edo Tokyo banzuke, the ranking list. The next, please. Although banzuke were originally a list for ranking wrestlers, this format of ranking soon spread to a variety of other fields. Here's another quiz. What is this ranking? Picture 19. A hint. Picture 18 on the left is a Bijin Banzuke, or ranking of beautiful women. And what is the other one, 19? The hint is that is found in various places throughout Japan, and most Japanese people love it. Some people even travel to enjoy this. The next, please. The answer is hot springs. These are hot springs in Eastern Japan, the right side, and the other side is hot springs in Western Japan. This is a banzuke ranking hot springs throughout to be beneficial for one's health. By the way, to organize a show, you need a place. In this era, the most popular gathering places were shrines and temples. This was because festivals, and other events were held there. The nominal reason for holding small tournament was to donate funds for the renovation of temples. Small tournaments were gradually organized and became popular as a representative sport in Edo. The next, please. It also came to be depicted in Ukiyo-e Lecture print. This piece was depicted by Hishikawa Moronobu, very famous artist at that time. The next one, please. Moving into the 18th century, artists of the Torii school began to include wrestler names in their depiction of wrestlers. This can be seen in picture 21. Each wrestler in picture 21 poses unique facial characteristics, and there is a clear determination to distinguish between the individual wrestlers. However, this differentiation is, at best, a stylistic experiment by the Torii school, and it differs from the realism of later years. Next, please. In 1765, techniques were developed for Nishikie, a new form of woodblock print made using multiple colors. Nishikie enabled the depiction of detailed expressions and led to a rapid development in realism. Nishikie techniques were first applied to active print. Picture 22 shows 2 pages from Ehon Butai Ogi, a collection of fans depicting half-length portrait of kabuki actors published in 1770. Here, artists can be seen experimenting with depicting individual likeness. The next, please. The next, please. Compare pictures. Yes. Compare pictures 23 and 24, which are both portraits of Ichikawa Danjuro. Picture 23 shows how, before the establishment of Nishikie techniques, kabuki actors were pictorially differentiated via the patterns of their clothes. In contrast, by the time of Honbutai Ogi, it had become possible to differentiate between individuals through facial likenesses alone. The next, please. It was Katsukawa Shunsho who established sumo as a legitimate subject for ukiyo-e. He had already achieved success as an actor print artist when, at the end of the 18th century, he turned his hand to creating small prints. The next, please. Around this time, the world of sumo was entering a period of unrivaled popularity due to the appearance of a number of famous wrestlers. Drawn by Shunsho in 1782, picture 25 shows the Dohyo-iri, ring entering ceremony. It depicts the wrestlers from both east and west sides of the top Makunouchi division of sumo. The birthplaces and wrestlers' ring names are also given for each of the wrestlers, so you can identify who he is. The next, please. In the center of picture 26 are two most famous wrestlers of this period, Tanikaze, the left, and his rival Onugawa, the right. The left, the hulking figure of the veteran Tanikaze, stands in the contrast to the shorter stature of the and upcoming Onugawa. While the difference in the physiques of the two wrestlers is clearly drawn, the depictions remain somewhat primitive. The next, please. By the following year, however, Shunsho had ironed out the unnatural element of his depictions. As can be seen in pictures 27 and 28, he has succeeded in creating outstanding small prints. In 1783 and 1784, Shunsho worked on a series of portraits of wrestlers wearing their kesho mawashi. Facial of their variances due to age. It is particularly noteworthy that in his focus on realism, Shunsho had made no attempt made to beauty the wrestlers. Indeed, this is definitive point of difference to active prints, in which facial depiction were based on likenesses, but blemishes were deliberately eliminated. The next, please. For example, the wrestler, the picture 28, no, the before one. Picture 28, wrestler, right side, is a bit older, which can be seen from the wrinkles and the sagging of his face and body. On the other hand, picture 27, the left side wrestler, the smaller Rikishi is still a teenager. His skin is tense and rubbery. His hips are so big that he was nicknamed Big Hips Kimenzan. In this way, Shunsho refined his style of his small prints. Only in small prints, which are not found in active prints or portraits of beautiful women, did Shunsho invent his way of depicting the individuality of the body. The next, please. The greatness of Shunsho does not stop here. He showed a typical example of small prints by depicting various scenes, including a stadium scene. It was only with the advent of Shunsho's small prints that bodies came to be depicted with great muscularity and with pronounced scene of mass, and that pictorial techniques were developed that captured their athletic dynamism, as in picture 29. The next, please. This is a masterpiece by Shunko, Shunsho's senior disciple. The Edo Triptych. It depicts famous figures from 3 of the favorite pastimes of the people of Edo. Can you guess what they are? The first is Tanikaze, sumo wrestling. Then there is the above, Ichikawa Danjuro, a kabuki actor. And the right, Hanaogi, She is a geisha from the Yoshiwara, the licensed quarters. Small kabuki and Yoshiwara were the three major pastimes in Edo. The Tenmei period when this work was made was a period of the highest quality in the world of ukiyo-e, and a typical style was established for each subject. The next, please. First of all, bijinga, or portrait of beautiful women, is the most normative field of ukiyo-e. Bijinga are not portrayed in the same manner as actor prints or small prints. Instead, they are depicted like the most beautiful women of that period. Specifically, they depict an oval face with a narrow nose, almond eyes, a small mouth, and a slender body. Next, yakusha actor prints, which portrayed with individual likenesses, but they are not mere likenesses. It is a photoshopped image with natural beautification added to cover up any flaws. The next one, please. No, before one. Yes, thank you. Here, Danjiro, the above, is slim and handsome with a high bridge nose, and his facial features are all depicted. Now let's see the last one, the left side, small print. Small prints are depicted in the same manner as actor prints. However, they are not beautified in the same ways as actor prints. The wrestler Tanikaze in this picture has narrow eyes, a squashed nose, curved lips, and a broad forehead. On the other hand, let's look at the depiction of hands and feet. Compared to the beauty Hanaogi, it is obvious. The arms and legs are very large and strong in Tanikaze. The face in small print is very realistic, but the body is drawn more exaggerate. Sorry, exaggerate. It's hard to pronounce. Exaggerated than it actually is. The next one, please. After Shunsho, realism in Smoe declined, except in the wrestlers' faces, and the pictures increasingly followed standardized patterns. This is most evident in the depiction of the wrestlers' bodies. In pictures 31 and 32, the wrestlers' muscles have become exaggerated and their bodies grown in size. It is so that one of the reasons for this standardization was an increased demand for small prints and subsequent necessity to reduce the time it took to create new pictures. Next one, please. Next one. Next one. Next. Next. Yeah. Kabuki, Yoshiwara, the Latin quarters, and sumo are collectively known as the three major pastimes of the Edo period. However, in Edo samurai society, pictures of actors and kabuki women were from time to time strictly censored on the ground. They disrupted public morals. As a martial art, on the other hand, sumo avoided censure and demand for small prints continued to grow. The next, please. In this period, these are numerous examples of pictures in which the bodies of the wrestlers are almost identical, and only their heads and the kesho mawashi, loincloths, are used to distinguish one wrestler from another. Picture 33 and 34, Kasukawa Shunwei, show this to great effect. The next, please. Finally, I would like to discuss the influence that small print had on painting. Before the rise in popularity of small prints, with the exception of Buddhist paintings, little importance was placed on the human body in Japanese paintings. In picture scrolls, painting partitions like picture 35, and next please. And even the earliest small prints, people were depicted with small, slightly built bodies, and as demonstrated by picture 25. Differences in physique were not emphasized. The next, please. It was only with the advent of Shunsho's small prints that bodies came to be depicted with great muscularity and with a pronounced thing of mass, and that pictorial techniques were developed and captured their athletic dynamism, as in picture 29. This is particularly evident in small prints that resemble photograph capturing the most of victory. A clear depiction can be made between those made before Shunsho, which in many ways resembled static images, and those after Shunsho. And when it came to depicting the movement of the body, it seems likely that sumo, since the protagonists were almost entirely naked, was the ideal subject matter. The next, please. There is a print of great interest that lends credence to this hypothesis and direct picture 36. This ink wash painting is thought to have been created by Hokusai, Hokushi, a pupil of Hokusai. In the center of the painting, the artist has copied Shunsho's famous depiction of Tanikaze and Onogawa. Next one, please. You see, almost the same. 戻ってください, back please. Thank you. While the left-hand side of the painting has been filled with half-naked men roaring and with laughter. Traditionally, Japanese painters developed artist techniques by carefully copying models, and the world of Ukiyo-e was no different. Picture 36 was almost certainly painted as a study of the human body, but the fact that it was painted by one of Hokusai's pupils is remarkable. Hokusai studied under Shunsho in his youth and went on to become an artist of the Katsukawa school. However, after being expelled from the school, he never depicted real small wrestlers again. Little information remains about Hokushi, although he is reported to have been active as an artist sometime between 1804 and 1818. That is Bunka era. That this is some 10 or 20 years after Hokusai left Katsukawa School. Pupil would, as a matter of course, have been expected to copy the work of their own masters. Yet Hokusai used an artwork created by the school he had been expelled from as training material for his pupils. Training material for his pupil. Perhaps this is an identification that Hokusai valued Sumoe as a learning tool for depicting human bodies. The next, please. Sumo prints are visual portrayal of historical wrestlers. At the same time, sumo prints is a genre that led to the realistic depiction of human bodies in Japanese art. Sumo prints is still in its infancy as a field of research, yet it is a fantastic subject that enables us to find out more about a unique aspect of Japanese culture. Going forward, I hope to continue development my own research onto sumo prints. Thank you. ちょっと早く終わっちゃいました。
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Okubo sensei, yay. Yeah, if you can finish the screen share. So I have one question. Somebody gave me a question. And I imagine the print masters were male. Did women participate in any of the print making process? Were there any women? Okubo sensei.
Women.
Women printer, like print masters.
I suppose it's only field for men.
Yeah,
すいません、
at
ちょっ
this
と
time, yes.
ちゃんと質問が理解できてないかも。どういうことですか？
女性の浮世絵師っていましたか？
ああ、そうですよね。No, I
はい。
suppose not.
No. Okay.
No.
It's like, I think currently we often had Yoshida Ayomi-san to to our museum quite a bit. Yoshida-san, her family was a ukiyo-e printer.
Mhm.
And she's currently a printmaker, also a installation artist as well. But she's, alive now. So, but anyhow, I kind of did something. Anyhow, hold on. Okay. Mika-san, could you end your sharing of a screen, please? Okay. So is the embossed effect done with wood blocks or by hand? embossed だから着物とかのデコボコしてる
はい、はい。
やつ。
うん。
それは、それも木でやったのか、それとも手でこうゴシゴシっと。
It's an interesting question as I also asked the same question to Plinter, and he answered me that of course he uses fingers and even elbow to
Oh.
scratch.
Interesting. And along with that, I have a question so there was a kimono, white kimono that has like a square, embossed thing. And I thought that the part of the sleeve and the part of like body of kimono, they were not connected. They were
Yes.
like separated. right? So, and then you show us the like a super thin wood foot thing for that one. So is it like all kind of connected, like a sleeve part and then body part of the kimono? They are like, I just didn't understand how that was made. なんかお着物の袖のところと身頃のところってパターンが合ってないじゃないですか。もちろんその、
で、そ
あれ
うですね。
も一枚の木で削ってできてるんです
Of
か？
course, of course.
So it's all one.
うん。
Oh my gosh. That's kind of crazy. Japanese people are very crazy, I have to say. Did Ukiyo-e and Nishikie, did it exist in Sengoku period?
錦絵 in Sengoku period?
Did it exist?
No, 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 no.
なかった。
戦国時代に錦があったってことですよね。
ありましたか？
No, 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 no. Only
No.
in the period.
Okay. And did sumo print artists also create mitate prints?
うん。
The hidden reference to the other works, like A Tale of Genji. 大久保先生, you know what mitate prints?
Yes.
So first of all, could you tell us what mitate print is? And did sumo print artists create that as well?
見立ての浮世絵についてってことですか？
お相撲さんの浮世絵を作ってた人たちは、見立てっていうプリントも作ってましたかっていう質問です。
Yes, yes. Artist. You mean the artist? その同じアーティストが相撲絵だけじゃなくて、例えば見立てとかいろんな絵の種類を作ってたってことですか？Yes, yes.
はい。So one artist will make different, like small one or different kind of prints.
Yes, but some artists only engaged to make actor prints, and some only engaged in portrait of beautiful women. But most Nishikie ukiyo-e artists depicted several subjects of like small prints, actor prints, and a picture of landscapes.
That's great. There was another question. Blah, blah, blah. Sorry. Where were sumo prints sold? Did vendors set up shop at sumo matches? Were they sold as advertisement? Where was it sold?
どういうふうに売られたかってことですか？
どこで売られてましたかとか、いつ？
It's on uh, エゾシアってなんて言うんでしょうね。Shop of Ukiyo-e.
So there was a specific shop for ukiyo-e.
Yes, yes. Yes.
Was it by the 両国国技館?
No, they buy small prints or actor prints at specialized ukiyo-e shops. And
Okay.
many shops around Edo,
Got it. Okay.
like bookshops.
Okay. That's very cool. So there was a banzuke, so the ranking of,
Yes.
small wrestlers or onsen place, in which I was very happy because I'm from Gunma and I saw Gunma onsen, quite a few of them. So I was happy. But is that, again, one plate or like European printing? They had each alphabet, like metal alphabet, put it in there.
Yes.
So is Japanese banzuke one with a bunch of writing? Were they one plate?
Yeah, only one board.
Okay, again, Japanese people crazy. Okay, so the third question from Erika-san. Why do you think the Tokugawa authorities censored kabuki more than they censored sumo? That's a really good question. なんで徳川政府は、歌舞伎に対してはすごい厳しい、これをしちゃいけない、あれはしちゃいけないっていうのがあったけど、相撲にはあんまりなかった、それはどうしてですか？
ちょっと難しい質問なので日本語でいいですか？はい。
はい。
歌舞伎っていうのはもともと談笑売春と結びついていたんです。ですので風紀を乱すという点で厳しく制限をされていました。で彼らはこのステージでパフォーマンスをする一方で、体を打っていたわけなんですよ。なんですけれども
はい。
Yes.
いいですか、そこまで。申し訳ないです。
はい。
覚えてられないので。So the kabuki theater consist of prostitutes. So they
Yes.
perform, but also they have to do the prostitution as well. So that government did not like that at all. Therefore, it was controlled very tightly. はい、OK です。
はい。なんですけれども、相撲はそのマーシャルアーツとして、体を鍛える方法として推奨されていたので、武家社会では。ですので、武家社会ってすごくやっぱ真面目なので、そういった売春っていうのはやっぱりダメ。ただ体を鍛えて、その戦いに備えるっていうのは良いことですから、それに結びついている相撲はとても優遇されていたわけです。
So in terms of a sumo wrestling, it was actually recommended by the government for all the warriors and then anybody who needs body work to actually do so that they can use it as an exercise. So that was seen as positive activity. And kabuki, because of the connection to the prostitution, it was seen as the negative activity. Hi. Is there any other questions that you wanted to ask? Yes, no, maybe? Was the shunga, were they censored?
Shunga is also very interesting question. Shunga is only published for private. It's not officially published, only for private prints. That's why Shunga, you can see high techniques in carving or printing uses many colors. They were all made as private purpose, not for
So was
big
it more
sale.
expensive?
No. It's only for individual pleasure, only to give for friends or limited friends.
Oh,
So
really limited, like really just.
yes, very private. だか
So they
ら
don't sell it.
No, publicly sell it. So only private printing. That's why how the 注文主の人がどれぐらいお金をかけるかっていうのは自由なんですよ。
Oh, so that
なの
if the person who wants it, they can just say how much they want to give to the artist. It's not really like
そう
store kind of merchant and that kind of a relationship. It
そう
was very
そう
person to person, very private.
なので、一番、すごい彫りとかのテクニック、あとはたくさん色が使われている最高の技術が見られるのは春画です。お金の、ビジネスのためじゃないから、個人の楽しみ
Oh,
にっているので。
so shunga was created from the artist point of view. It's not for the business. It's not to make money. It was really for art. So they could spend money and then that means they could use different colors and then time as well. So that's why the technique was shunga. Shunga, by the way, I'm sorry, is pornographic image print. I just realized that it wasn't noted. Sorry. So because it was privately made, so artists could take as much money and paint and time they want to create that. So that's why shunga tend to be more like high technique and then like better quality, high quality
ちなみ
image.
に、一番彫るのが難しいのがアンダーヘアで、今の、トップの、彫り師の人も、江戸の再現はできないって言ってました。
So the most difficult part is the pubic hair. That is the most difficult thing to carve. So the person currently who's doing the, who's the printmaker, he claims that he cannot do the same job as the artists from Edo period because it is so difficult. That's kind of interesting that like to say, I am studying to perfect pubic hair drawing. Well, that's hey, everybody has a thing. Yeah, okay. that's an interesting question too. How did ukiyo-e change during the Meiji period so that it could survive?
明治の後、どういう
生き
ふうに変わっ
残るためにちょっと頑張ってやって
うん
みたこととか。
明治ですよね。
はい。
明治は、写真が入ってきて、それ
あ
で写真の役目を浮世絵は終えたんですよ。なの
あ、な
で、
るほど。
それまでは、瓦版とかにつける、報道として使われる浮世絵があったんですけど、それは完全に役目を終えたので、絵画として生き残りを図ることはしました。
なるほど。So the Meiji period during that time, photographs were introduced. And so until then, ukiyo-e was used as, on the newspaper, maybe like record keeping. But photographs showed up. So they turned into the artistic usage so that they can survive, which exactly sounds like rest of the painting and in everything else. もうなんかみんなそんな感じですね。絵も、油絵とかも
うんうん
同じような、
そうなんです。
はい、感じですね。Okay, it's great. Thank you so much. 大久保先生、ありがとうございました。Thank you very much. It was
Thank you.
very interesting and then we learned a lot. If I can stop for a second and ask a question, do we have somebody from Tsukuba University? 筑波大学からいらっしゃってる方がいるんですか？
あ、先
I
生が
have
きっ
some.
と、岡田先生ですね。
おー、いらっしゃいませ。Thank you so much for joining us. ありがとうございます。It's our
私、
honor.
恩師です。
そう、大久保さん先生。Got it. It's an honor to have you. Okay, so can we do group photo? Because if I don't, I will be murdered
Sorry to
by my program manager. Mika-san, what is it?
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Maybe Mr. Richard, do you have any question or something?
Comment will say thank you, Marika-san, but you know my son, I believe. He's
Sorry, I can't hear you well,
can't hear me
Richard-san.
now. Better.
Mm-mm.
I'm not sure how to fix it. Can anybody hear? You can hear? You can hear? So my son is at Okayama University, Joseph Ryan. He's your colleague, Mariko-san.
Joseph, what?
So my son, Joseph Ryan, is a professor at Okayama University.
Oh,
He's Marika-san's colleague. He's in archaeology.
ジョセフ・ライアンさん
先生の
の
お父さん。
お父さんですって。はい。
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wow. It
Big
can't
world.
world be any smaller.
Nice to meet you.
Okay.
隣の研究室です。
Oh, so Richard-san, your son has a office right next to hers.
Yes, yes.
They are office neighbors. That's crazy. All right, so I would like to take group photo, and so if you can turn on your camera, that would be great. And I got this new widget in it, so you will see kind of like a flashlight type of thing per second. So don't be surprised, because if you are surprised, your picture will look like that. So what should we say today instead of cheese? It's small. Ukiyo-e. I can't think of anything. What ends with E? 大久保先生、どこ出身でいらっしゃいました？
錦、
何？
錦かな
今聞こえなかったんですけど、
え
どこ出身っておっしゃってました？
あ、
あ
私ですか？
はい
いや、最後の音はいいと錦。
Wait, where am I hearing this? Okay, I'm sorry. I have no idea. I'm gonna just keep going with it. Okay. So, oh, I got it. That's what you mean. So, Nishiki will end with E. So instead of cheese, we will
ああ、
say
なるほど。
Nishiki on 3. Okay?
はい。
1, 2, 3, Nishiki. E. Did it work? Maybe. Yes. It worked. And oh my goodness, it worked. And you know what? Because this is cool, it took everybody, even though there's 2 pages. I'm very proud. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And we have a lot more events to come. So please join us, especially Harukaze. It will be so great. And I always get sad at the end because we always put together like fantastic concert. And I want everybody to see it. Simone-san, you agree, yes? That was very good last year too. So it's Harukaze. Please join us. That would be wonderful. And if you can't, your quota is have at least 5 people that you know. You have to bring. Okay. All right. Thank you guys. Good night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.